Yeah, I think I'm going to go get some food before the game tomorrow. I'll
All
go
right.
out downtown, get a little bite to eat, because I'm not trying to eat whatever they're going to serve in the media dining room.
Okay.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair move by me.
I would agree with you. Like, it's free food, so I don't want to get
Yeah,
torched.
I'm not.
The salad is always fresh and
Salad's
good,
always very strong.
but
Cookies, awesome. Popcorn available the whole game.
I was so looking forward to showing up on Sunday for a day game and getting breakfast.
Like waffles, pancakes.
Well, and whatever they do with their waffles, the waffles are usually like
You've had their breakfast before.
the Kings. Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I could just, use one of the waffles as like a throwing star and kill people. And the pancakes have the strangest ability to absorb as much syrup as you can possibly throw on it. It doesn't matter.
Sponge cakes.
It doesn't matter how much syrup you go. It's still dry, and you're like, "What just happened?" So you put more.
We talk about the things, and this is thing of no consequence to anybody who's not eating in the media dining room.
Yeah,
but like Levi Stadium, very good media dining.
Going to a Niners game is crazy because they serve some breakfast stuff.
Yes.
And then they have lunch.
Yes.
And
then at halftime.
And then at halftime, there's hot dogs and like chicken wings and ice cream. And then after the game, there's like pizza and ice cream.
Yes. Insane. So no, but you know how we always talk about the things the Kings need to spend money on that don't go toward the cap? Like hire a coach, pay to have a coach, pay to have a GM, pay to have a good training staff, which they do. The Kings have a very good training staff. Pay for those things. Let your kitchen people cook. Give them the resources they need to put out some quality dining.
Yeah, first of all,
they do their very best.
The cookies are amazing.
Really good cookies.
And it's, we get coffee and tea and soda and water all game long, popcorn.
The bit here is that we're complaining about free food.
Yeah.
It's free. It's delicious.
And typically I just like, okay, I'll just eat it. Like it is what it is.
Same. It's not inedible.
No, it's not. It's not healthy, but
tomorrow feels like, today feels like a big day, and we'll talk about the playing games today, but tomorrow just feels, I want tomorrow to be a little different.
Okay.
And hit Mojo's or somewhere downtown. Just go hang out and have some food and then walk over to the arena.
All right.
I think that's going to be the vibe. If anybody wants to go, hit me up. It'll be a good time. You want to stop by?
I might stop by. We'll see.
I would love. Oh, that'd be the best. Be the very best thing. Hi, good morning. By the way, happy Tuesday.
We're doing a radio show, Kyle.
Yeah, I forgot we got a radio program to do. I saw a headline in the Onion today that said "It only Tuesday," and dang, I feel that it is only Tuesday. James Ham's there. Joe Brazil behind the glass. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. Jiffy Lube sponsors this program. Everybody listening on 1320 AM on the radio. Hello, good morning. We appreciate you. Everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch, of course. Hello, good morning, everybody in the chatty house at youtube.com/ESPN1320 and twitch.tv/ESPN1320. Free Odyssey app. If you're listening there, hello, hi, how are you? If you're not listening there, download the free Odyssey app and make sure to favorite ESPN 1320. That way, wherever you are in the world, you can listen to this very radio station. And of course, the James Ham and Kyle Madsen Show. It's a podcast version of this program. Joe does a great job getting the hours uploaded, the full shows uploaded. You can subscribe to that wherever you get your podcasts. The James Ham and Kyle Madsen Show. We couldn't call it the Insiders because people who make more money than we do said we can't. So we didn't. And that's how that works. The Dallas Mavericks are a disaster. And this is not, hey, we're bringing up old stuff. The Dallas Mavericks have decided once again to shoot themselves in the foot for the 14th time this season. They announced today, or it was reported today, that Nico Harrison is having an off-the-record chat with select reporters. So this is an invite only, off the record, with no cameras and no recording devices allowed. Which, if it's off the record, that's what that means. No cameras, no recording. I shouldn't say it's off the record. I have not seen that it's off the record. If you take notes, then perhaps you can publish what is said.
Okay.
I have not seen the phrase off the record, but no recording devices, no cameras. Why are they doing this a day before their season is on the line? Unless Nico Harrison knows they're not going to come into Golden One Center and win. And he goes, yeah, all right, I've got some stuff to get off my chest before the playoffs start. This is such an own goal. What is he doing?
I'm so confused, too, because there's no reason to talk to the media today. Like, you're going into a play-in game. If you lose said play-in game, then you have your postseason media session on Thursday or Friday. The players come out, the GM comes out, the coach comes out, who else? Like you just go through the standard postseason like media. If you somehow win on Wednesday, you beat the Kings, then you push that off to Saturday or Sunday or maybe even Monday. Why you would do it today? I just don't get.
I don't either.
Like, I mean,
This is so bizarre.
Like, you're not somebody who should be grandstanding that you made the plan. I mean, this team plummeted as soon as they traded Luka. I mean, this is a disaster season
like
for
this
them.
Effective, awesome team who's accomplished something. It almost feels like he's trying to get out ahead of something.
Okay.
Like if Luka and the Lakers make a deep playoff run, we're going to hear all about, like, it's going to get rehashed, right? The Luka trade.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes sense. I saw somebody say we've never seen this type of reaction to a trade. It's like, yeah, because we've never seen this type of trade. This is insane.
Yeah.
So I think what Nico Harrison is doing is before the playoffs and the play-in start, he's getting his message out, whatever it is, whatever new thing he wants to say. But there's nothing he's going to say that's going to satiate the fans there. Outside of Luka did something illegal and he's about to get charged for it, and Nico Harrison is hipping everybody to that, I don't think that's the case. But outside of that one scenario, there's nothing Nico Harrison is going to say that is going to placate Mavs fans. And now he's putting the Mavericks back in the news, in the spotlight for the wrong reasons again, right before they go to play the Kings.
It's wild.
What is he doing? This is insane.
Like, look, I have had a ton of off-the-record conversations with general managers, coaches, whoever.
Sure.
But not like this. Not where they send out an e-bite to a couple of people.
Insane.
And say, hey, everybody, we're going to have a sit-down. Now, like, have I walked into a coach's office with a couple other media members before tip-off of a game and had like a off-the-record conversation with a coach? Yes. There are all kinds of different ways to do this.
This is so different. And it's right before your season is on the line.
Mm-hmm.
What a silly, silly thing for Nico Harrison and the Mavericks to do. Alas. Kings favored by, what did we see? 4.5?
4.5.
I like that number.
All right.
Number a lot. But we're burying the lead because Nico Harrison and the Mavs doing anything is funny at this point. Your Stockton Kings are the G League champions. It's so
Let's
big time.
go.
Yeah, it's big time.
Yeah.
Mason Jones, the MVP of the finals. They were down 1-0 in that 3-game series to the Orlando Magic's G League team. Us a lot.
Anytime you can't say a team name, you probably
It's a city I've never heard of.
Osceola,
of course. Osceola. Yeah, no, for sure. That's a place. That's where the Magic's G League team is. The Magic go up 1-0 in that series. Kings win the next 2. Had a comeback last night.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac Jones was awesome. 21 points, 13 boards.
Yeah. He was so active.
Love to see it, man.
Yeah. I mean, Isaac Jones, if he just spent the entire season in the G League, would be a G League All-Star. Mm-hmm. He'd average 20 and 10 without any problems at all. Like he spent some time down there, but not an entire season. And I he's on the cusp of being an actual NBA player. That's what
I'm wondering. Is Mason Jones is he on the brink of being this productive?
I meant Isaac Jones, but go ahead, Mason Jones.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Mason Jones. That's my bad. Isaac Jones for sure.
Yeah.
What about Mason Jones? Because is Mason Jones doing that? Is he on the cusp of, man, some team is going to take a shot on him to be their 6th man, and he's going to get an opportunity to get pushed into a bigger role in the NBA on a team that just says, hey, here's the keys and you're going to go. You were so good in the G League last year. Here you go. Or is he just a what we call in baseball, a quadruple A player?
He's a 4A player.
Where he's going to go cook in the G League, and every once in a while he comes up if you need a spot start or some spot minutes, but he's never going to have a regular rotation spot in the NBA.
I feel bad for Mason because I do think he is really, really close to being like a real NBA player. I mean, his stats for this season were absolutely crazy.
It's clear he's too good for the G League.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we talked about this at some point during the season. Big men in the G League thrive.
Yes,
like for Isaac Jones to go down there and put up 20, I think he finished 21-10 in 12 games at the G League level. For him to do that it's impressive, but there aren't a bunch of really good big, centers and stuff in the G League that can hang.
It's because if you're a good big, you're in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a quality center or power forward, you're just in the NBA.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to guys like Mason, there are a ton of guys like Mason Jones at the G League level, tons. And so you've got to find a way to separate yourself from those players, and it's not easy. And what he's done over the course of his time and playing for Stockton, again, the Kings would love to have him be a G League player forever, but I just don't think that's going to be his route. Like, he's got to go make his money. And once you go from being a two-way player that makes half of a rookie scale contract, so 550, 600,000, to just a G League player that makes 40,000, his run is pretty much over in the G League. Right. He can't be a two-way player going forward. He's capped out. He's outside of the parameters of what a G League player can be. It's supposed to be your first 3 years. I think he got some sort of exemption for a fourth year.
Huh.
But yeah, like, look, I think that he's he's a fun dude. He's got a really, really good spirit about him.
Excellent vibes.
Yeah, very, very good guy, vibe guy. He's actually like yesterday on the podcast, Sean said he's actually right now getting his MBA from Harvard. So like while he's playing, he's actually really close to getting his MBA. So like, look, this is a bright guy who's got plenty of things going for him outside of the game of basketball, but he's so close to being a really, solid contributor at an NBA level. And I just don't know when he's going to get a shot, or if he is going to get a shot.
I think Eric Escobar in the chat this is in the chatty house at youtube.com/ESPN1320. I think he hits the nail on the head here. He tries to do too much when he gets to the NBA level. If he can calm down and slow down, he would be a fine rotation guy. And that's it.
Yeah.
You're the guy on the G League team. If you're going to carve out a role in the NBA, it is going to be a much lesser role. Yep. It is going to be on the margins, do a little scoring here and there, but it's going to be rebounding, defense, hustle plays. It's going to be those little things that earn him rotation minutes more than, oh, wow, he played 100 miles an hour and he tried to score every time he touched the basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there is a way in which he can fit at the pro level. Again, for his career, he's a 42.3% shooter from three.
Mm-hmm.
This year, he shot 41.3 at the G League level on 9 attempts a game. Last year, he shot 47.6% on 6.3 attempts per game. The dude can flat out shoot. So, getting him an opportunity, I don't know what that looks like, but it sure did feel like the Kings needed that type of player all season long, and no one actually gave him that opportunity. So there's got to be some sort of disconnect between who he is at the G League level and who he can be at the pro level, and whether that you can sort of figure out those two sides.
So he's done playing for the Stockton Kings. He could play for the Sacramento Kings, but he can't play for the Stockton Kings anymore.
Well, no, he can. He just can't play on a two-way.
Oh, okay. He has to be on a G League only contract. Got it. Okay. I misunderstood that. Does this matter at all?
I mean, I think you mean winning the championship doesn't matter.
Yeah, like let me back up. Let me rephrase that. It's really cool. It's awesome. Was pulling for the Kings to win it. They did. That's outstanding. Is there anything we can take from this that we can spin forward to the Sacramento club?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the NBA has become like a little bit like Major League Baseball, where you're trying to build a pipeline.
For sure.
And I think the Kings are doing a really, really good job during the the Wes and Monty,
Mhm.
Monty and Wes like era. They did a really good job of building a pipeline. We've seen guys like Isaac Jones there now, but Keon Ellis find his way. The Kings rewarded guys like Terry Taylor this year, and brought them up out of the G League. I think they are building a pipeline, and that
Mhm.
winning is good because that means that you might be able to attract better players again this
Sure.
year. Where other players are like, hey, I want to go play there. They just won.
Yeah.
They've got a good coach in place. They've got some things going for them. And so, yeah, I think it does matter. I don't think it's an end all be all, but it's a cool story. And it's a good thing to,
Definitely.
kind of pin your, during a down year to really like kind of give you something to talk about.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to the Stockton Kings, your G League champions. We love to see it. We also love to see our guy Nick Friedel, Odyssey NBA insider. He's going to join us next. We're going to take a look at some of the crazy stuff that's happened in the NBA this year. We'll look at the play-in games. We'll look at the playoffs. Love having Nick on as a guest, and he's going to join us next. We'll talk about those play-in games. We'll talk about the NBA playoffs coming up. And of course, we got to keep the NFL draft in the conversation because that is a week from Thursday. It's coming up. And we'll discuss that as well on the Insiders. James Ham, Joe Brazil, I'm Kyle Madsen. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is ESPN 1320. It is Sacramento sports leader. Hey, yo. Charlie's jumping in here. Hang on, everyone. We have to talk business. We're very serious business people.
Extremely serious business people over here. I will let them do that, and I will take over for a little bit here, I guess. Let's see. How are we looking this morning, guys? How are we feeling? I think I'm going to hit the River Cats game today. It's the tickets are not very expensive. I mean, surprise, surprise, but I think it's like $35 behind home plate. I'm like, dude, I'm hitting the River Cats game for $35 behind home plate. Come on. Are you serious? See Kyle Harrison pitch? Yeah, they're talking real big business. I actually can't hear what they're saying either, guys. So we're all in the same boat here. How about the Giants, though, guys? Come on. I saw a stat today. Jung-Hoo Lee is currently hitting better all around than Shohei Ohtani. And of course I'm going to pick stats. Someone said, we'll show the last 3 years of their careers compared. No, actually, I don't think I will. I think I'm going to stick with that stat right there. I don't think I'm going to be out at any concerts at the state fair this year. For the most part, I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff with the Insiders, obviously. So I'll be out at events and whatnot, but I don't know if I'll be at the state fair. It's a good point. I will take a look at the grass. I will absolutely get a report on the grass. I did have some Brazil soccer gear growing up. I do not anymore, though. Honestly, Verlander has had a little bit of a slow start. I'm really not too worried about it just because he's a veteran and what he's bringing to the staff right now is like, it's priceless. You can see it in all the other starts. I'm not mad at really any of his starts. It's kind of what I was expecting for Verlander. He's been eating up innings, even though he's been getting in trouble early. So as far as I think he'll come around though, he'll even out throughout the season. So yeah, I think he will come around definitely.
No.
Hey, Nick Friedel.
How we doing, guys?
What's going on? Hey, just so you know, you're live on the stream. We're back on the radio in about 40 seconds.
Awesome.
But you're live on the stream right now. How are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. It's good to be with you guys always.
Yeah, what's happening, man?
I was so happy when you texted me the other night.
Hey, a great tweet is a great tweet, but when it's coming from my boy about Mr. Tibbs like that, I it's funny. I sent it to a few of my buddies in all the different text chains who have like some tie to like the Tibbs experience, and they're like,
That's awesome.
Nick, I feel like.
Oh, hang on, we're coming back.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, James Ham there. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil spinning on the ones and twos. And on the line is Odyssey Sports NBA insider Nick Friedel. Insider calls are brought to you by Hyundai. You can buy a new Hyundai at Amazon. Visit HyundaiUSA.com for more details. Nick Friedel, everybody.
What's going on, Nick? Like, I'm curious, where are you in your house? Because I can't tell if those are drapes or a shower curtain.
Shower curtain.
Where are you in your home?
Mr. Ham, the best part is I am in San Diego, California, because I had flown out here to see my beloved Cubs, and I always try to get out to San Diego for this series every year if it's doable, and everything was looking really good for a few innings last night, and then that bullpen hit, and woof.
You can't play the Sacramento A's every series.
Yeah,
that is for sure. That is for sure.
We've got play-in games starting tonight. Of course, we're talking with Nick Friedel, Odyssey NBA insider. We got play-in games beginning tonight. It feels funny because in the West, the 7-8 matchup is like, man, if whoever wins this game has got a real shot against the Rockets, that young number 2 seed. Whereas in the East, it's Orlando and Atlanta playing to get boat raced by Boston. Does the winner of Orlando and Atlanta have any shot to give Boston a series?
Hell no.
Thanks, Nick.
Hell no. Yeah, that's why they pay me the big bucks, Mr. Madsen. Right there. Look, Orlando Atlanta is like a made for NBA TV play-in game. I know that that's not exactly how it's going to play out, but the winner of that game is just going to get absolutely demolished by Boston if they show up 4 times in a row. The hardest part as a fan watching how these playoffs are going to unfold in the East is, guys, assuming there's no injuries, it's going to be Boston and Cleveland. I just don't see any other way around a different scenario. They've been the class of that side all year long. The West is a completely different story, but when you try to find, all right, where could the upsets be and what could happen in these NBA playoffs, but especially in the East, Kyle, I don't see any way that those two teams aren't just a cut above everybody else playing against each other in a couple months.
You know, Nick, when I look at the Western Conference, where the Kings are at is actually not that bad of a position. You've got the 7-8 matchup of Warriors, Grizzlies. I don't think either one of those teams we're 100% are convinced that are good. When you look at where the Kings are at, they're going to play a Dallas Mavericks team that's in complete chaos and turmoil. There is like a small pathway here for the Kings to actually somehow make it to the playoffs, although it would be a short opening series. But just where are you with where the Kings are at, and what do you think? If you were predicting, what would you predict how this plays out in the next week?
James, I think they can win that first one. Dallas is just all over the place. I mean, Dallas is a case study for the play-in. It keeps everybody involved, but as soon as they made that deal and people started getting hurt, I was like, all right, Dallas is done. Whether or not they win this game, we'll see. But Dallas, talk to me next year about Dallas. But as far as the Kings go, is there that small path that you're describing? Sure. I think there is a possibility that they could find their way through into the first round. But guys, I haven't been with you in a couple months. I just am in total disbelief as it comes to Sacramento that the Kings front office looked at what happened with the Bulls in Chicago with DeRozan and Levine. And they went, hey, you know what we should do? We should recreate exactly what we just watched for several years that just didn't work, that was supremely mediocre. We should run it back now. Like when that deal went down, the Levine deal, I just shook my head. I'm texting our buddy Slater, and I'm going, what the hell are they doing? And you guys live it every day. I understand. I haven't been able to fully articulate just how mind-numbing I thought that whole thing was. But to see it now play out a couple months later, and to see the money that's still on that Levine deal, to try to figure out where they're going, the Aaron's out of there, it is just a mess. And it's why they've been the way they've been for so long.
Odyssey NBA insider Nick Friedel joining us. Insider Calls brought to you by Hyundai. Now you can buy a new Hyundai from the comfort of your new home at Amazon. Visit HyundaiUSA.com for more details. Yeah, man. And that's, I think with Sacramento specifically, I think the Levine and DeRozan dynamic, we always talk about this with the Kings. There are nights where they're going to go into Cleveland and beat Cleveland. And then the next night beat Detroit in Detroit to cap a 6-game road trip. But we'll also watch them lose to Washington or smoke a 19-point lead at home to the Bulls. Was that how it was with Levine and DeRozan in Chicago, where one game they would look like, man, they might make a run, like, oh my God. And then the next night look like a team that could be in the lottery?
Yes. Absolutely yes. Kyle, what I would tell you, and it's funny you mentioned that Cleveland game. I'm sitting in like a tiny Italian restaurant outside Jacksonville, Florida.
As one does.
As one does. And I look up on the screen, and the bartender must have had a ton of something on Kings Cavs, that game from a couple weeks ago. And I'm watching, and I'm like, oh, exactly. It's like, well, yeah, everybody's got their thing, and he was into that game. But I'm watching that game, and I'm like, I've seen this game. I watched this game watching the Bulls in Chicago for a long time, even keeping up with that team. Those guys are fun to watch when it's rolling. And, of course, the Kings aren't just DeRozan and Levine. I mean, there are other players and there are other reasons why always. But they can beat anybody. But the consistency just isn't there. I mean, the issues with Levine's defense have been on full display for years and years. As I watch from a distance now at what's going on in Sacramento, and it goes back to Mike Brown getting fired, giving him the contract, getting fired. You just look at what's going on, and you're like, this is why they are the way they are. This is why it's been set up the way it has for so long. And this is why so many people look at that situation and they go, well, the Kings are going to find a way to screw it up. And when that whole thing went down, I was just going, okay, well, they just set themselves back another couple of years. Like, if you're going to trade De'Aaron, get back all the young pieces, all the different things, but to pair up DeRozan and Levine again, you got to be kidding me.
Wow. I feel like we should have had him on when the trade happened, because I kept saying the same exact thing and no one was listening. They're like, come on, man, give it a shot. Like, this has got a chance. And I'm like, no, they're the Bulls West Coast. They're the Bulls West Coast, like, version. Like, what are we doing here? And it's played out. Like, I've never seen two players that, again, one night can look just brilliant together. And then the next night, it looks like a big brother, little brother situation so badly. where it's just like they're in the back seat, and there are times where you're sitting with your brother in the back seat of the car, your parents are driving, and you're watching a movie together, and everything's quiet. And then 5 minutes later, you're beating on each other in the back seat, like pulling each other's hair and like wet willies and all that. So that's what it feels like when you're watching them play. It's just, I don't know how to explain it except for it's two guys that, well, one guy specifically that doesn't feel like he wants the other guy to succeed sometimes. And that's what it feels like to me.
James, I think that's very well put, and I'd add there's always a mom driving, usually in the driver's seat, or a dad that my mom would cry when my brother and I would beat the hell out of each other, and my dad would be like, "What the hell are you guys doing?
Knock it off!
What the hell are you guys doing?" So when you watch the structure of the team building, you just go, why? And you just wish, because I've known you guys for a long time. I know how many loyal Kings fans there are out there. I mean, truly, like, there are a ton of loyal people that follow that team day in and day out. But when you make moves like that, when you give Mike the contract extension, then you can him with all that money. Come on. This is why they are who they are. And that deal and that pairing, James, to your point, is another reason why who knows what can happen in these playing games. Maybe they can win a couple games and get in the first round. Sure. Hey, this is fun. Let's go try to light the beam. Okay. But how are you any closer to a championship than you were at any other point? You're just not.
Man, it's depressing.
Yeah, let's bring up good news.
This is a huge bummer. No, I want to real quick. I want to ask you about the other playing game tonight in the West, but I want to stick on tomorrow's game, Mavs Kings. What's the deal with Nico Harrison deciding to do an impromptu press conference with no cameras, invite only? What? Huh? Like, you want to talk about dysfunction? What is that?
Kyle, it's the mirage of transparency. It's getting into the news cycle, but not really, because, hey, we don't have cameras and you can't really record anything. And we're only inviting selected media. That kind of stuff just drives me insane. As a journalist, as somebody who spent years covering the league, what you're trying to do is get your message out, but you're not being fully transparent about how you're going about it. And what I would say to the Mavericks, and they aren't alone. I mean, plenty of teams do weird stuff like this. I know the Nuggets just put Kroenke on like their in-house thing and had an interview, and then like a week later, okay, well, he did a press conference. It's just different now. But what I would say to the Mavericks specifically is, if you're going to have a press conference, have a press conference. Let people ask questions. Let the messaging get out there. Let everybody see what's going on. To do it this way just feels too secretive. It feels like you're hiding something. And if you're the Mavericks, you have pissed off your fan base to the highest possible power. I mean, we're sitting here, I'm feeling bad for the Kings fan base. You imagine being a Mavs fan? I think that's actually worse, which is really something to say given where they were only a few months ago. So it's a mess back there, and I don't see that getting better anytime soon because of the decisions that were made.
Yikes.
Okay, so it sounds like, again, I think the Mavs are a total mess, but this offseason feels like it could also be just another wild season of change. I don't know that Anthony Davis is long for there. What do you think? How do they pull out of this tailspin that they're in? Because we could talk about the same thing about the Kings, but the Kings, I think, is a lot more difficult because they have Zach LaVine. They don't have Anthony Davis to trade.
That's one of the most depressing sentences of the year in sports radio, right there, Mr.
Yeah.
Ham. Yikes! I feel bad. All my friends in Sacramento, I feel bad. If you're Dallas, though, let's stick to Dallas. If you're Dallas,
yes.
If I'm that front office of Nico Harrison, you get out of the Anthony Davis deal and you just start fresh. And it's going to be tough ego-wise to acknowledge, hey, we really screwed this up completely. The amount of season ticket holders that it feels like are pulling back, or everybody's kind of jumping off. I would trade Anthony Davis and get back everything you can. Again, the saddest part is you're trading all these picks potentially and getting all these young players back. You want to find a Luka Doncic. You had him and you gave up. So in order to win in the NBA and in pro sports, you have to have structure top to bottom with people on the floor, in ownership, in the front office, all doing their job in the same way at a high level. When you don't have that, you have the messes that we're describing here.
And as we talk with Nick Friedel, Odyssey NBA insider, and the problem there is there's not only the ego hit for Nico Harrison and the Mavs front office to go, hey, we made a mistake, we're going to trade Anthony Davis. You're probably going to wind up getting more for Anthony Davis than you got for Luka in the first place, which would be a whole other problem. I don't think anybody would be like, wow, what a great haul for Anthony Davis. It'd be like, you got this for Anthony Davis. Why didn't you get more for Luka?
Kyle,
there's no winning here.
The way that was handled was something that they'll truly be writing books about. I mean, my buddy Tim McMahon, he wrote a book, but you could write a whole different one in the last 3 months of what's going on. So they messed it up. They messed it up at a historic level. In order to fix what's happening now, though, you have to acknowledge that. And that's what they've got to do this summer.
We can't keep you all day. Let's finish with a positive note, right? Yeah, let's just finish with a positive note. So you didn't make it out for the A's Cubs series. What are your thoughts on baseball in Sacramento?
I am so mad having spent time in the Bay, and I lived in Oakland that first year when I was covering the Warriors. I'm just so mad at how baseball handled that whole situation. And James, what was sad to me is I was actually trying. I flew to Tokyo. I'm a diehard Cubs fan, diehard my whole life. That is my team. I flew to Tokyo with my mom. I went to those Dodgers games.
Oh, cool.
They lost, but it was an incredible thing. I was trying to get back to Sacramento, but the ticket prices for that first game were, insane. I'm like, look, I'll be going to an A's game this summer, but I don't, as much as I want to see the Cubs, I'm not going to pay all that craziness to get in there on game one. But what is sad is it just feels like, and again, you guys live it every day. It feels like in the beginning, everybody was into it and they were packing the park. And as the weeks have gone by, I keep seeing these pictures get tweeted out. And I'm like,
You're still winning some games, man.
I hate for my friends who are still out there the way the A's situation was handled. Sacramento, if you're a baseball fan, it's incredible. You get to watch a major league talent in a minor league park. That's awesome. But to have that team with the way they've been run for so long, who knows if they're ever going to end up in Vegas. But to drop a team in a place where I know people do care about baseball, but they've had the River Cats for so long. I mean, it's such a strange situation always, and it ties into the theme of our conversation today, guys. If you don't have the right people making the right decisions up top, you're going to have big problems as it filters down, and that's where the A's are at.
Last thing, real quick, we're right up against it. Who wins the Magic Hawks game?
I'm not going against my Magic. I'm a proud Orlando native.
Of course, yeah. No doubt.
Big Caro, let's go. I think they can get through that. They're going to get popped. I am curious, guys. Warriors, what happens with them? They had their chance to get that week, and I think that's really going to hurt them trying to move forward now.
Yep. Do they get Memphis tonight?
I think they can, because I think Draymond will carry them all the way through, because he knows, hey, I need those 5 or 6 days to lay low. But I've felt from the beginning their best chance to win was next year when they can load up that roster just a little bit more. Not right now.
No doubt. Nick Friedel, one of the very best Odyssey NBA insider. Thank you so much for hopping on with us today, man. We'll do it again soon.
Guys, it was great being with you. See ya.
See you, Nick Friedel, that was Odyssey Sports NBA insider Nick Friedel. Insider calls are brought to you by Hyundai. Now you can buy a new Hyundai at Amazon. Visit HyundaiUSA.com for more details. We'll have more NBA playoffs, NBA play-in. We'll have some NFL draft. We got some exciting NFL draft news. We'll tell you what it is next. That's James Hammond, Kyle Madsen, Joe Brazil's with us. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube here on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Leader. Mirage of Transparency.
It needs to be on a t-shirt.
Bar.
I love Nick.
He's the best.
Such a good dude.
We need to have him on more often because I feel like I wanted to get his thoughts on all that stuff that has just been discussed already.
Yeah, like,
I
well,
wanted to talk playing, and then it was like, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
we could have had him lighten the show up like at the trade dedeadline and just had him laugh
seriously.
the whole time
Seriously.
about the Kings
Just
acquiring
killing people.
Zach LaVine.
All right, man. Damn. Getting cooked.
Yeah. Let's see, according to Ian Rappaport, Cowboys legendary left tackle Tyron Smith is set to sign a one-day contract and retire as one of the organization's all-time greats.
Who's that? Sorry.
Tyron Smith, left tackle, Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yep.
Because we ran out of time, and I think Manny's shtick is old and tired. No, I just forgot. Sorry, guys. I love Manny. Dude, he was really good. Really good for a long time.
Yep. Oh, that's his. I thought that Nico Harrison had talked after the Luka trade. He hasn't talked since the Luka trade?
Yeah, he did that press conference with Jason Kidd where he bailed out halfway through it.
Oh.
And I don't think he's spoken since.
Okay. So he did, like, after the Luka trade. Like, the Luka trade happened. He did a press conference, but it was he bailed halfway through.
Yeah, and he did it with Jason Kidd.
Because Jason Kidd made that decision. No. The answer is no. He did not.
Yeah, I saw. I don't know if people follow or are friends with Mavs fans, but a couple of the prominent Mavs bloggers, podcasters I follow are in the camp of you need to fire everyone, the entire coaching staff, the entire front office. The only way you're going to even begin to move past this is because Jason Kidd's being super flippant about it. Talking about, yeah, it's getting compared to Babe Ruth. That's pretty cool. Brother, the Red Sox traded Babe Ruth and did not win a World Series for 108 years. Or whatever it was.
Something.
Whatever insane number.
3 million years.
What are you talking about?
Hey, Eric, it is almost time for us to get Faraz Siddiqui in here.
Yeah, we'll get Faraz after the NFL draft once rookies have gone to teams. We'll get him in for a little off-season checkup.
All right.
All right, fellas. So it's confirmed tonight. $33 right behind home plate. I will be there. Can't beat that.
For the kiddies?
For the River Cats,
Nice.
absolutely. Can't beat that, man. $2 hot dogs.
TC's on the line.
TC's on the line. Can this day get any worse?
This is an insane thing that doesn't get talked about nearly enough.
That did happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely madness.
And Mookie
Of
Betts,
course.
by the way, last year just stepped in and was like, yeah, I'll just play shortstop for the Dodgers now. It wasn't a great shortstop. He was fine.
Can do well. He's a good player. I've always said I'll give credit where credit's due. I do like Mookie. He's a great player.
He's incredible. Incredible player. It's jokes. I love TC.
Yeah, we're just messing. He's got takes, and they're all
It said
veiled.
3. I said I texted my
30.
buddy who got the tickets. I said, "How many are you? What's the over under?" 7.
Glizzies?
Yeah, that's what he said today. And he said, I'm eventually aiming for the 9, but I'm gonna start light today with the 7.
Glizzies and brewskis?
I don't
or
know,
just
dude.
glizzies?
I don't know. I think
I always talk about doing the 9x9 thing, the 9x9 challenge. Hang on. We got 5 seconds.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
I think I take down 3 glizzies.
So Joe Brazil was telling us at the break. What? It's insane, right? It's a wild thing to say. So we're talking.
Are you serious? I thought I did something wrong for a second. I thought I pressed a button.
No, it was me.
No, that was Kyle.
Yeah.
I think I take down 3 glizzies.
I was like, wait, did I get him on the line? Okay.
No, you're
sorry,
good.
continue.
You're good.
That caught me off guard.
Bring your ass.
So
Okay.
Joe said at the break, and if you want to hang out with us at the break, we encourage you to jump onto youtube.com/ESPN1320 and twitch.tv/ESPN1320, because when we step away on the audio side, the video side's just up. We're just here talking.
Yeah.
And Joe is going to the River Cats game tonight at Sutter Health Park. And his buddy, you're going with some friends, and your friend said he was going to eat 7 hot dogs.
Yeah.
That's too many hot dogs.
Way
brother.
too many.
I always talk
It's
about
way too many.
I always talk about trying the 9x9 challenge. That's 9 beers, 9 hot dogs in 9 innings.
Do people realize that this would hurt?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. That's why it's a difficult thing to do. At 22, maybe. Like it's about how old you are, right?
24.
22. Okay. So in my early 20s,
Yeah.
it's a thing that I think I could have done.
Uh-huh.
But when you start talking about at a baseball game, okay.
Yep.
So now we're talking about baseball game beers.
Yes.
And now remember, this is 9 innings. So you have to have like 3 of them ordered by the 7th.
You got to plan it correctly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I could eat 9 hot dogs in 9 innings at this point in my life. That's so much. That is so much hot dog.
It doesn't sound fun. Like, I don't want to do that to myself willingly.
Yeah.
It would make the experience for me not fun.
And then you're tacking on 2 additional glizzies. And then you're tacking on 9 ballpark-sized beers.
I think that's going to be the easy
No.
part for my buddy. But the beers is no problem. We don't got to worry about the beers.
That's wild.
No,
That's just,
It's going to be,
you got to go something light.
yeah, but the beers are really big.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Ballpark-sized beers.
I don't
even
want
if
to
it's a
be the
light
guy
beer.
that helps Joe's friend out to the car.
Yeah, no
I
chance.
don't want to be that guy.
I used to do, so this is at, shout out to Flaming Grill. I don't know if it still exists. I know it used to be out in Oak Grove.
Korean spot?
No.
Okay.
But there was one down where I lived off of whatever it was, El Camino and Bell or something like that. I can't remember exactly where it was. Doesn't matter. Anyways, it was over there. They did a liter. You could buy a liter.
Like a liter of cola.
A liter of PBR for like $4.
Oh, yeah.
And my buddy, we sat down to eat. It's like a burger spot. They have like all these. They sold like elk burger, and the python was on their
dude,
menu.
I'm in.
All these kind of exotic. What's the word I'm looking for? Because I don't want to say exotic animal product foods.
Okay.
So that's what they did, and we sit down to eat, and they did great carne asada fries, and I order a liter of PBR. My buddy goes, "You won't drink 2 of those." I said, bet. I got you again, 23, 24 at this time. And I go, bet. So I drink these 2 liters of PBR over the course of a dinner.
Okay.
And the way was I didn't like how it felt in my body.
Of course not.
Pause. And
Oh no.
I can't, the idea of consuming that much beer in that short of amount of time, especially now with baseball games at the pitch clock, this isn't a 3.5 hour venture anymore.
No, that's true.
You're doing this in 2 hours and 15 minutes.
This is a sprint.
That's a no chance for me, brother.
Uh-huh.
I can get you 3 Modelo's during a baseball game. I can get you 3.
Yeah.
9?
So I feel like I would be able to do it if it was just so if I go into it thinking I'm going to do it, I probably won't be able to. But if I just have a crazy night, maybe the stats will line up at the end. You know what I mean? Kind of like not shooting for it, but at the end of the night, the stat line's like, okay, we did really good.
Now, does it? Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. And I probably,
you might not put up a triple double.
No,
but you might put up 29 and 8.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I mean, we're talking about it's people are worried. It was a $2. It's $2 hot dog night.
It's $2 hot dog night.
So it's not going to cost them like
$2
$2 hot dog
dogs.
night.
You didn't say that.
I'm sorry.
So that means you're not getting like a Dodger dog type of deal. You're getting it's probably
Be
a
careful
little
with your
lower than
words.
the beef frank.
Okay.
There's no way to go here that I'm gonna be okay. So I'm just gonna
we should just
I'm just drawing fouls at this point. I got fouls
yeah.
to give. Goodness gracious. River Cats tonight, Sutter Health Park. Go enjoy a baseball game.
hang out with Joe.
Go hang out with Joe and eat some
Come
$2
say
hot
hi.
dogs.
If you're coming out to the game, come say hi.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
why
be right
not?
behind home plate. I won't be hard to miss.
All right. James Sam there. Joe Brazil there. I'm Kyle Madsen. Jiffy Lube sponsors this program for now. What's happening with the Kings draft pick? What does the Magic and Hawks game matter for the Kings?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it can. So
Okay, let's start with Magic and Hawks.
okay. So if the Hawks beat the Magic, well, it actually doesn't really matter either Hawks or Magic because I believe. Wait.
The Hawks are 40 and 42.
Okay, no. So if the Hawks win, they're the 7th seed, right?
Yes.
And that pushes the Magic down to the battle for the 8th spot. Whoever wins the 9-10, whoever that is, it doesn't matter.
So it removes the Hawks from the lottery.
It removes the Hawks from the lottery. Okay. So then the next step is, can you get one of those other teams to beat the Magic? Because if one of those teams can beat the Magic, that would drop the Magic into the lottery as well, which of course would put them higher than the Kings at 41 wins. Right. So that would push the Kings down one spot. So all of this is predicated on if the Kings were to lose to the Dallas Mavericks. So if there's a way that not only could Dallas beat, let's say Dallas beats the Kings and then Dallas beats
Memphis or Golden State.
Yeah. Let's say they beat Memphis, right? That would also drop Memphis in and push the Kings down even further. So in that scenario right there, it's possible that you could get the Kings down to the 12th spot if 2 40+ win teams, more like 41 win teams, push the Kings down lower.
So you want to see the Kings are rooting for the Bulls or the Heat because they're both, the Bulls are the 13th pick, the Heat are 11.
Yep.
Rooting for whichever team wins that game to beat whichever team loses the Orlando-Atlanta game.
Yeah, and the Kings would tie with Atlanta, and then there would probably be a coin flip. I believe that's how that would work. So you could actually tie with Atlanta, lose a coin flip, and then lose your pick because of the coin flip.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lose your pick to Atlanta because of the coin flip. But if the Kings win, they're outside of weird lottery luck. If they win the first game, lose the second one.
They win the first game, lose the second. Well, okay, so it doesn't.
Oh, this is such a mess.
Yeah, that would put them at 13. Most likely, it would put them at 13 with the potential to go to 14.
Because if you win that first one, the Mavericks are 12.
Yeah.
And then the Bulls are 13 and the Heat are 11.
Yeah, so if you wanted the Kings to keep their pick, but if you want them to win the play-in, then, of course, just cheer on your team.
That's it. And I think maybe that's where we'll stand on this.
It's so narrow. The path is so narrow to keep your pick. And you could get to 12 then have some ridiculous thing where the 13th pick in the draft moves up into the top 4 and pushes you back one and you lose your pick. So At this point,
but vice versa, you could be 13th and you could be the team that moves up, and now all of a sudden you go from losing your pick to keeping it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we'll do, we're going to push this to the side. We're not going to talk draft pick unless the Kings lose tomorrow. I don't think they will, but if they do, that's when we can bring the draft pick back into the conversation.
Yeah.
Because ideally, they win a couple of play-in games and they go play in a playoff series, and they lose their pick.
That would be the ideal situation, I think.
I agree.
And either way, I mean, that would clear the slate. So as of July 1st, you wouldn't have a draft pick this year. You wouldn't have a first-round pick. You do have a second-round pick. It's a Bulls pick.
Yeah.
But then you would go into, on July 1st, you would have all of your picks from then on.
Right. Okay.
Including your 2026 and 27 second-round picks you would get back.
Right.
That are,
because those aren't going to convey in the Hawks.
Yeah, they're currently on hold.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a lot. But speaking of draft picks, we have some fun NFL draft news for you. Missed it here. We'll get that for you next. And then we're going to give away some money.
Oh.
We'll tell you all about that coming up as well. We're giving away money. 500 smackaroos, I'm seeing.
Yeah.
All right. We'll tell you about that next. James Ham, I'm Kyle. That's Joe. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320 and Sacramento Sports Leader. I got the read. Make sure I'm up. All right. It's NBA play-in time, which means it's almost NBA playoff time, which means it's time for you to sign up for Underdog Daily Fantasy. Their pick'em game is so easy. I tell you about it all the time. You pick higher or lower on at least 2 player stats, and then you can win up to 1,000 times your money. It is so much fun, and the NBA playoffs are the best time to do it because joining now, Underdog is doing, starting with game 1 of the playoffs, a 40% profit boost token. So if your lineup can win you $100, their 40% profit boost token ups that by 40%. In game 2, if you use that token in game 1, in game 2, you'll get a 50% profit boost token. If you use that, you get a 60% for game 3, all the way up to a 100% profit boost token in game 7. Sounds like a great time. I can't wait to have NBA playoff lineups on Underdog. Here's what I'm rocking with tonight in the play-in games. I don't get the profit boost tokens tonight, but I'm still going one lineup for each play-in game. Trae Young, higher than 9.5 assists. Paolo Banchero, higher than 30.5 points. And Dyson Daniels, higher than 2.5 steals. Can't wait to lock into that game. Warriors, Memphis, the second game tonight. Gary Payton II, not been great offensively. I'm going lower than 7.5 points for GP2. Steph has got that messed up right thumb. Lower than 5.5 made threes for Steph.
That's a lot of
threes.
That's
a lot of threes. Even if he hits 5, he can have a great game. So I'm going lower than 5.5. And then Ja Morant, I'm going higher than 26.5 points. This is going to be Ja Morant trying to score all of the buckets. And I think that he is going to go higher than 26.5 points. Those are my 2 lineups. I hope you play along with me on the Underdog app. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code KYLEM. That's KYLEM to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code KYLEM, KYLEM. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/extend.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncbgambling.org. Thanks, Joe.
You did it, Kyle.
You did it.
You did it. Greetings from Mount St. Helens.
Mount St. Helens, nice.
Nice. My grandparents went to Mount St. Helens when I was a kid, and they brought us back ash from Mount St. Helens in like a little jar. I think it was in like one of the little tiny, like Knott's Berry Farm jelly jars that you get like at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my dad has some. I think. Norm, I don't think there is one. Okay, I really need to make sure we get that. There we go. I gotta do that and that. Second hour. Somebody had a really good question. I forgot to star it. So when I bring this thing up, if it was you, raise your hand and I will make sure to give you credit for bringing this thing up.
Cal,
Did I forget to start it?
oh, you started
no.
something.
No. Joe started something.
No, I did because I really like that nickname.
Front row Joe.
Yeah, but only for AAA games.
AAA front row, Joe.
That's great.
Or we'll just call you AAA Joe. How about that?
It just doesn't quite. Front row Joe has, I don't know. We can clue it in though. We'll do, I'll think about it.
This is a good question, Kyle. We'll save this.
Chris, I don't know if I'm going to watch the Barca game. I might after the show. We'll see. Yeah. It's a possibility.
Yeah. Who among us?
Man U has another game against Lyon this week.
Ooh. That game he scored, what did he have? 37, and he was, yeah, he had like 37, and I think it was a -6 or maybe a 0.
Rustog, who are the Kings free agents this season, after the season? Laravia, Trey Lyles, Doug McDermott, Jay Crowder, Markel Fultz.
Yeah.
And that's it, I believe.
Zach LaVine had that game in Cleveland. He had 37 points and he was a -4. 27 points against Denver, a -8. $26 against the Clippers, -5.
Sometimes that can mean though that you kept your team together.
Ugh. Hour number 2. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil behind the glass. Talking NBA play-in games. We'll have some NFL draft for you. Speaking of the NFL draft, James and I are doing a live show out at Cache Creek.
We are.
For the NFL draft. Yeah, can't wait. That is Thursday, April 24th. So next Thursday.
Yep.
Up at Cache Creek. We're going to be in, I want to make sure I have this right. We're going to be in the YOLO room. And it's a, what would you call it, Joe? Like something
It's
between
like
a ballroom and a conference room?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Intimate little setting. We're
Yep.
just going to sit there, hang out. We're going to do a live show from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay.
Talking NFL draft. Taking you right up to the draft at 5. So we'll do a live show. And then after that, we're going to go to the Elevate Bar inside Cache Creek, and we're hanging out.
Elevate Lounge.
We don't have a show to do. We don't have microphones out. We are hanging out.
Absolutely.
I might have a beer, maybe.
That would be wild.
I'm just saying.
I'm not having 9 beers
Well,
and 9 hot dogs. But
one per pick.
Yeah, I might have a drink or two.
Yeah,
and we're talking about.
It's gonna be a great time.
I think
Come
we might stay the night. Like they've got.
I'm crashing there for sure.
Yeah, they've got a beautiful hotel.
No, absolutely not. I'm gonna have a great time watching the NFL draft with the homies, and gosh, might go play a little bit.
Should we just take Friday off and?
I low key want to.
I think we probably should just like run something on Friday.
Run a best of.
Yeah, best of on for some. We can do something on Friday. Like because that place it's not exactly super close to where we are today. So
We'll discuss all this.
Okay.
We'll be out at Cache Creek Thursday. Live show 4 to 5. Come hang out with us. And then we will make our way over to the Elevate Lounge inside Cache Creek. And we're going to watch the NFL draft, have some good drinks, eat some good food, and have a great time.
Yeah, come out and join us. It'll be fun.
One more piece of housekeeping, and you're going to want to listen because we're giving away money. So listen up. And this is ESPN 1320. This isn't some national crazy thing. ESPN 1320 AM is giving away money just for listening to the station. ESPN listeners will have 2 chances to win big all listeners have to do, and viewers have to do, is listen for the 2 keywords throughout the day and then enter it online at ESPN1320.com. Listeners will have 2 chances to grab a keyword, one with us, the insiders, another with D'Lo and KC. They're from noon to 4. Each day, one lucky listener will win $500.
Yes.
So every day, we're giving you 2 opportunities to win $500.
Yeah, so it's a $500 digital gift card, and it's courtesy of Folsom Lake Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. This is incredible.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Shout out to Folsom Lake Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, $500. Again, that begins next week. Cannot wait.
No, it's spectacular. I'm super
$500.
excited. Yeah.
Salute. All right. Let's talk play-ins. Atlanta, Orlando. I think I'm rooting for Orlando.
Okay.
One, because I'm a big Paolo Banchero guy. We've covered this. But I also just think if Boston's going to steamroll either team, but I think if there's an opportunity or a chance for one of those 2 teams to give Boston like a little bit of a series, I think it's Orlando. I think Orlando is better equipped to potentially make things. I don't obviously think they're going to win the series, but can they get it to 6 games? Maybe. I think they have a better chance of doing that against the Hawks, although the Hawks played Boston well this year.
Okay, so I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to pull for the Hawks here.
Okay.
The Hawks blew up their team midway through the season.
Yep.
They traded Bogdanovich. They lost Jalen Johnson. They traded DeAndre Hunter, and then they started to like roll with Reece Sachet and Dyson Daniels, and they're young. They're like a fun team, but also there's this weird little thing that they had traded as part of the DeJounte Murray deal originally. I believe that they traded their pick to the San Antonio Spurs, and the Spurs have their pick, which right now is like the 14th pick in the draft. So if the Hawks can make the playoffs, that pick is not a lottery pick, which just gives San Antonio less opportunity to jump up into the top 4.
That's a good point.
Because 2 picks, Kyle, in the lottery give you better odds than 1 pick.
It's a good point.
So if I'm
the mathin'.
Yeah. So if I'm someone who follows the Sacramento Kings, I would like to see the San Antonio Spurs not get a second lottery pick.
Yeah.
And the further they drop in the draft, the better.
When we were discussing the De'Aaron Fox trade and the possibility of that, and we were looking at all the Spurs picks, we saw that unprotected Hawks first, and we're going, dude, what in the world?
Why didn't you get that?
The Hawks are going to stink. And credit to the Hawks, man. They didn't have any reason to tank.
Nope.
Which probably helped. But credit to them, man. Credit to Quinn Snyder for keeping that team together. Trae Young was really good this year. The shooting percentages were way down, but 24 points, 11.6 assists. Dyson Daniels was a revelation. He's in the most improved player conversation. Zachary Reece-Sachet really came on at the end of the year. He looks like a player who might be at least be in the league for a while, which was a huge question going in the draft. But he went on to average what he averaged 13, 4, and 1 this year. Shot 35.5% from 3. I like that the Hawks didn't quit.
Yeah.
And they finished the season 40-42. Again, are they going to beat the Magic? Maybe. Are they going to give Boston a series? Probably not. But given what we thought in February about the direction this team was headed and what it meant for the Spurs, that's a good point by you. Salute to the Hawks. I'm still not going to root for them.
Okay.
But I like that angle.
Okay. Man, Dyson Daniels on the season, 14.1 points. He averaged 3 steals a game.
Good God.
3 steals a game. Led the NBA. He also averaged 4.4 assists and 5.9 rebounds. Man, talk about giving up a young player a little bit too early.
Yeah, I get what they were trying to do, the Pelicans, that is, when they acquired DeJounte Murray. They needed a point guard, ostensibly, and another ball handler and a playmaker. Potentially a good defender. We've seen DeJounte Murray be a very good defender at times. That fell off a little bit in Atlanta, but you kind of saw the vision.
Mm-hmm.
But forget the injury. Forget the fact that he got hurt and is it Achilles for him? It's Achilles, right?
For
DeJounte Murray?
Yes, I do believe it was Achilles.
They had so many injuries this year, it was crazy. But even removing the injury, I think if the Pelicans knew that this type of season was coming from Dyson Daniels, I don't think they would have made that trade.
No, I mean, look.
Like I said, injury aside, even if they got a full season out of DeJounte Murray, you'd rather have the 21-year-old who's averaging 14 points and 3 steals a night.
Yeah, I mean, you had him in your building. You should have known what kind of defender he is.
Insane.
I mean, realistically, you had him there. You should have known. And talk about like a perfect fit type player.
Mm-hmm.
You could have had 2 elite defenders at year 2 and 3 between him and why am I drawing a blank?
Herb Jones?
Herb Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like spectacular.
You could have been a nightmare defensive team.
Yeah. Wild decision that they made there. And they gave up picks. They gave up a bunch of picks. So we're gonna have to see. Yeah.
Yikes for the Pelicans. Also, I saw a report from Shamit Dua, who covers the Pelicans and has for a long time, that Pelicans ownership is going to mandate their new GM trade Zion Williamson this offseason.
Okay. Like, look,
we got to do it.
We do have to do it.
We got to talk about it.
Like, look, I've had conversations with people within the walls, right?
Of Golden One Center, not
of Golden One Center.
Odyssey.
Yeah. And there's like a real fear with New Orleans that they're going to be the team that gave up Zion Williamson and he's going to be great.
Sure.
And they're going to be the team that gave up an MVP and they're going to be like regretting it the whole time.
Sure.
But they also know that that's almost like the only path forward for both sides.
I would agree with them.
And so there's this really complicated thing that the guy doesn't play enough. He doesn't play enough this season because they wouldn't let him play. They wouldn't let him play in back-to-backs. He's always going to be battling weight issues. That's just something that's part of who he is as a person. And he's going to have to, you need a very, very strong franchise that can support a player that has some very specific needs. And I think that there are a lot of teams that are going to raise their hand and say, I'll take a chance on him. He's still super young.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
And it's not a theory with Zion. We've seen when he is healthy and he's in playing shape, we've seen he is a force of nature.
Yeah.
He is so freaking good. And they won a few games down the stretch because he was healthy and playing and single-handedly helping them win games. So you see the vision of why they've been holding on to him. Because I get it. I get that you don't want to be the team that traded Zion. Some other team got him on the right plan, got him healthy, and all of a sudden he's averaging 39 and 6 a night. And you're the team that gave up on him.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
so tough.
I hate comparing sports to relationships, but you have that person that you met just at the wrong time in life. Like, man, you know what? There's no chance this is ever going to work. But, 2 different places in life.
Yeah.
Stuff happens. That feels like the Zion and Pelicans thing. They have too much talent. They have too many good players. We talked about this yesterday with David Griffin. They have too many good players to have their entire season riding on whether Zion's going to stay healthy or not. So if you can move him now while there's still some value left and get something of value back that you can build around Herb Jones and Trey Murphy and Yves Missi and DeJounte Murray, who's there now, and Jose Alvarado, you got however much time left of CJ McCollum. Maybe you build around that and it's better for you moving forward and you live with the result of a Zion trade.
Yeah, and the way his contract is, basically, it's 39.4, it's 42.2, and 44.9 over the next 3 years. So whoever is going to acquire him is acquiring a giant salary for sure. But again, he's not even 25 yet.
I know.
It's just so crazy. But there's 24 games followed by 61, followed by 0, followed by 29. Then he played 70 last season and was really good in those 70 games. I mean, the Kings know that because he ran through them.
Yeah.
And 6-0 against the Kings.
And he was dragging them back against the Lakers in the second play-in game.
Then he got hurt.
And got hurt.
Yeah. And then he backed that up with 30 games played this year. And again, I think that was more, he probably could have played 45, 50, but that was more just the Pelicans pulling him back.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a difficult decision. And there is going to be a market for him. And I can almost assure you the Kings will call.
You have to.
Yeah. The Kings,
Now,
trust me, they're going to be on the list of teams that call and see if he's available.
there should be 29 teams calling, frankly, and the Kings specifically.
Yeah.
That's a move. You might hate it. You might say, oh, the injury stuff. But that's the type of kind of, I think, dramatic move that they're in a spot right now where they're just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
They're just, I think they're in this lane of mediocrity where it might ebb and flow a little bit. But for the most part, you're going to kind of be right where they are. You're in that 7, 8, 9, 10 play-in conversation. I think to get out of that, you're going to need to take kind of a dramatic swing. And it doesn't have to be Zion. But I think that's the level of move I think you have to go make. And there's going to be some risk involved. But like I said, we've seen up close and personal just how freaking good he is when he's on. It's like, man, 25 years old. I think I'd take that bet.
Yeah.
But we'll continue discussing this. We're not quite to the offseason yet. I just thought that report was interesting, and I'm sure there will be more coming out about that, and we'll talk about Kings offseason moves once we get there. The other play-in game, Memphis Golden State, might actually impact the Kings. Who would you rather see the Kings play? 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. That's the Oak Grove Kia talk line. Kings Grizzlies tonight. What does that mean? Warriors Grizzlies tonight. What does that mean for the Kings? We'll tell you next on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Center.
Yeah, I would not trade Sabonis for Zion. I know that's something that is going on in the chat. To me, I just wouldn't do it. You got a guy who plays, as close to 82 games as possible every year versus a guy who misses a ton of games. And I know you're getting younger and all that stuff, but I also don't know that Zion and Sabonis could coexist. I don't know. Maybe they could. Maybe Sabonis setting screens for Zion would be the most devastating thing of all time.
Little Zion Domas pick and roll.
Yeah. 2-man game. Yeah.
Yeah, the only way and that's the thing, and like I said, we'll talk about this more during the offseason, but the only way I am acquiring Zion is if you're going to have to give something up. They're not just going to give him away. Plus, you got to match salaries and stuff. But the only way I'm doing that is if they're taking DeRozan and other stuff.
Yeah.
It's not, hey, Keegan's on the table. Domas is on the table. I'd rather have Zion with those guys. But.
And that's where I think the Kings have some issues. They, just as far as salary cap wise, they don't have a bunch of contracts heading into this year.
Yeah. Yeah, God, I guess that's true.
I am completely in. It's no question.
The young people are in. I like that Joe's the avatar for Gen Z for me.
Let's go to the young person.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. It's cool.
Yeah, so it just would be difficult. Well, I mean, they're not going to do that. Oh, okay. No, I'm wrong. You could acquire him. Yep, I see that trade. Okay, never mind.
What is it?
Devin Carter and DeMar DeRozan would work. Are we gonna take a call?
Sure. I'll get to it.
Both or one?
Just one.
Yeah. Uh, I think you could probably pull off Zach and Devin. I actually just Zach by himself. But I was trying to like mentally do a trade without including that. It's about 10 million. Got to be within, I think, 25%. That would be tough. That might make it.
I agree with this.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Live NFL draft show. 4 to 5 p.m. at Cache Creek Casino next Thursday, April 24th. Come hang out with me and James in the YOLO room. Then we're heading over to the Elevate Bar and Lounge to watch the NFL draft, eat some good food, drink some good drinks, have a good time. Hope to see you out there at Cache Creek again next Thursday, April 24th for the NFL draft. Speaking of the NFL draft, we're gonna sprinkle it in here, and we're gonna do that via the Elk Grove Kia talk line, where our guy TC wants to talk some 49ers. Go ahead, TC.
Kyle Hammer, what's up?
Chilling, bro.
What's up?
Hey, ready for this game tonight, and ready for us playing tomorrow. As far as Niners, I got Niners and Kings, but you know what? I spit Niners first. I don't know how real that is, bro, but I'm doing it ASAP. Like, I'm doing it today. That whole article I was reading, maybe the Steelers TJ Watt for Brock. Your thoughts, Kyle? Are you doing that just simple, yes or no?
No.
Okay. What about you, Ham?
Probably no.
Okay, that's a yes. I can't see the first word, but it's something yes.
Hell
me.
yes. Hell yes is what you're looking for.
Period. I don't. Yes, that's yes. That's a yes for me. As far as the Kings and Zion, Ham, am I looking at this right? Do they make the same amount of money as far as Domas and Zion?
Yeah, it's relatively close. Yes.
Okay, simple question. Yes or no by both of you guys. Whoever wants to go first. Mine is yes. Are you taking that? If you taking that swing on Zion for the swap?
For me, it's a no.
What's the swap? Sorry, I'm still shook.
He's saying Domas.
Domas for Zion straight across?
Yes. I see you, Kyle. Man, I don't know what Ham doing. That's yes to me.
No,
my only hang up is there's thanks for the call, TC. The only hang up for me is I don't mind the idea, but with Domas, you have a floor that you would be erasing with that move. Where now, we saw it this year. You got 40 wins with whatever this team had going on. It was just a mess of a year, right? Mm-hmm. And you still had 40 wins. You still have a starting center that you know is going to go out there, and he's going to give you 20 points-ish. He's going to give you 15 to 20 points. He's going to give you 10 to 18 rebounds, and he's going to give you 5 to 10 assists. And you just know that night in, night out.
You know you're getting a double-double. You know you're getting the best rebounder in the game.
Sure. And I think there's value in that. But on the other hand, bringing in Zion raises your ceiling, I think, pretty immensely. But if when Domas gets hurt, it's okay. It's not great, but it's not like the end of the world. If you're giving up pieces, you're bringing in Zion, you're now building around Zion. You're doing everything you can to create an infrastructure that is based around his game and his skill set. Mm-hmm. And if he goes down and you remove that, you become this year's Pelicans. Now, granted, they had some other injury stuff, but I think like for next season, I don't think the Kings are going to have a roster as talented as the rest of the Pelicans roster was this year. With Herb Jones, who got hurt, Trey Murphy eventually got hurt toward the end of the year. I think Jose Alvarado was in and out of the lineup. They had a ton of injury problems, and they didn't insulate themselves from letting Jonas Valanciunas walk in free agency, which was a whole other thing. They just had Yves Missi, the rookie, and said, "Hey, here, you and Daniel Tice are going to be our centers," which is crazy. So I say all that to say your floor drops precipitously if you do that deal.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I look at the entire package that a player brings to the court, and not just to the court, but to your franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And like Zion, like it's not just injury problems. It's not just he does have off the court problems.
Mm-hmm.
He's always going to have like the weight issue hanging over him. I don't know how long his career actually lasts.
Yeah, no doubt.
And people say, "Oh, we've never seen anything like this. We have not." Oh, we he's just such an anomaly. And it's like, no, he's not. He's Larry Johnson. And Larry Johnson had the same exact problems. He could not stay healthy.
Yeah.
And his career ended early because he couldn't stay healthy. And Zion, like whether it's foot issues or knee issues or back issues, like he's had all of the red flags that you were worried about when he was coming into the league.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, when he's healthy, he's great. But when he's not healthy, he doesn't help you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's too often. I mean, again, he's played 30 games like 3 times. He's played 0 games 1 time. He's played 70, I think, twice.
Mm-hmm.
Like his career path is really, really difficult. And like, while I think he's a tremendous
played 70
talent.
once.
71, 61
He's played more
once.
than 60 twice in 6 years.
6 years since coming out.
So here's I think where people are going to land on this. If you're in the blow it up camp, if you're in this core of players is not going to work, I'm ready for the Kings to either take a big swing or bottom out, then this is your big swing.
Oh, yeah.
Then this is it. Then if it's Domas for Zion straight across and you're ready to blow everything up and give that a try, then you're probably a thumbs up. If you're not there yet and you're thinking, hey, Domas, Keegan, Keon Ellis, these are the that's a foundation. If you're in that camp, then you're very obviously not doing this.
Yep.
Or excuse me, Levine is in there too, just because I think he has to be. So if you think that's a foundation that you can build around and build upon, then you're sticking with it, and you're probably not acquiring Zion for anything less than or anything more than, what do we say, DeMar DeRozan and Devin Carter works
something like that. It would be close,
picks.
But yeah,
that's probably what you're in the range of doing. So I think that's where people are going to fall here.
Okay.
Man, that's tough for me. I lean no, but I could be talked into it.
Okay. I would say, I'm not doing it. And also, if you're swapping Domas straight across for Zion, then you're looking at like the strangest combination of 2 bad teams ever.
Yeah.
So you would literally have Jonas Valanciunas and Zion Williamson right next to DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. So you'd be like the Chicago Pelicans or the New Orleans Bulls.
Ooh.
It would be odd.
Tough.
And I just don't know.
I don't love that at all.
Yeah.
Let's get out to where are we at? Joe in Elk Grove says no on the Domas Zion thing. What's up, Joe?
All right. How's it going, Kai? Hey, Mr. Ham, wouldn't it be easier for the Kings to swap out? They need a point guard, send either DeRozan or Levine to Atlanta for Trae Young, a guy that distributes the ball.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, if you're gonna make a move, I've never been like a tremendous Trae Young fan because of his defensive liabilities. I think you have the same exact issue if you tried to bring him in without trading Levine. You have the same issues that you would with the Malik Monk, Zach LaVine thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have 2 guys who don't play defense as your starting 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because then the floodgates are just wide open and you don't have a true shot blocking center. So if you do that, you have to find a way to fit a shot blocker in at either the 3 or the 4 or the 5 and move Domas to the 4. Like, it's just so complicated. Trae Young is incredibly gifted, and he's one of the great scorers in the game, and probably underrated, to be honest with you.
He's one of the great playmakers in the game.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking 10, 11 assists per game. So he's a guy that really does do a lot. But like, it has to be the right situation, and putting him alongside a guy like Zach LaVine is not the right situation, just because you're not going to be able to stop anybody.
Yeah. There's a very particular type of team you have to build around Trae Young, and it seems a little bit like the Hawks are doing it
out of nowhere. Well,
Dyson Daniels is a perfect pairing for Trae Young.
Yeah, and Okongwu and Capella, yes. Yep. Perfect pairing.
Very good. Jalen Johnson is an ascending player. He got hurt this year and missed a bunch of time, but ascending player.
Recesche. Yeah.
Tall, athletic, long player. They're building the right kind of team around Trae, for sure. And I think getting DeJounte Murray out of there was a good idea, because that wasn't working. And getting Dyson Daniels in there, oh, look, it works perfectly. So I don't know that the Hawks are going to be super eager to trade Trae Young.
They might look to move Trae Young. I'm not convinced that he's not going to be on the list of players that are available. We talked about this like at the beginning of our show when we first started, that I thought that this last summer could be a year where we saw major pieces traded, whether it was, again, Trae, Luka, and everyone's like, oh, they're never going to trade Luka. I'm like, okay, but like, you have to look at all of and Zion. You have to look at all these guys as like not successful in where they are. Now, then the Mavs go on to make it all the way to the NBA Finals. So you're thinking, oh, there's no way they're going to deal him. But like, I could have seen a way in which all of those players are kind of swapped for each other in different trades, and I still think that there's a possibility again of Zion and of Trae, and I think there are other big names, even AD we mentioned earlier. Like, there's going to be a lot of players. Ja Morant might be available this summer.
Yeah,
like, there are a lot of big name, big salaried players that might be available. And the one thing the Kings do have is Zach LaVine on a 2-year deal, where some of these other players are going to be on 3 or 4 year deals, and you can save the other team, 1 or 2 years of that extended contract.
And if Zach LaVine comes out in the play-in, and he's been playing, I think, very well down the stretch, he comes out in the play-in and has a huge game against Dallas and they win, and then he has a huge game against Memphis or Golden State and they win, and they go to the playoffs, and it's because Zach LaVine was out front leading everything, then maybe there's some value if they want to trade him. But if he has that kind of run, maybe they're not interested in moving him.
Yeah, and I still like Zach LaVine a lot, like Trae Young. There's a way to build a team around Zach LaVine. There is. Like, I don't think it was ever realized with the Chicago Bulls, but there is a way to build a team around him. It's just complicated.
Yeah.
And you've got to have, again, Keegan Murray is a really, really nice player to put alongside Zach LaVine. Keon Ellis might be a really good player to put alongside Zach LaVine, but you need 1 or 2 more of those defensive-minded guys.
Yeah.
And you need ball movers, not ball stoppers.
Yeah. For sure. I am right there with you. Memphis Golden State tonight. James Ham there. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil behind the glass. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. I think there's 2 separate things here, because no Kings fan is actively rooting for Golden State. So I don't want to ask, who are you rooting for? Who should the Kings be rooting for? From a basketball standpoint, forget fandom for a moment. From a basketball standpoint, we're assuming the Kings beat the Mavericks. Who would you rather the Kings play for the number 8 seed? Is it Memphis or is it Golden State?
I mean, I think the Kings, they can say all they want about, oh, it's a closer trip and we know that team really well, with the Warriors.
Yeah.
I think if you're the Kings, you want the Warriors to be the 7 seed and for you to face the Memphis Grizzlies. I think if you're a Kings fan, you're probably pulling for Memphis. Memphis has not been good in the second half of the season. They fired their coach 9 games ago. The new coach has got a whole new system that he's integrating, and it's a bunch of pick and roll stuff, but they still don't play any defense. And it's a team that for me is gettable. They play fast, but they're gettable.
I would way rather play Memphis. Memphis is a weird team right now, man. And I said this on CBS 13 the other night, and I stick with it. I would like to avoid Steph Curry at all costs because we've seen firsthand at Golden One Center what can happen there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, the Kings shut him down last year. The Kings were awesome last year. I think this is a better version of the Warriors, and I think it's a worse version of the Kings. And Memphis with a new coach, their offense is just a lot of Ja Morant now, and not that really dynamic ball movement, player movement, space invasion offense that they tried earlier this year that they had so much success with. Defensively, I think they're a little bit of a mess. I would way rather see Memphis in that spot. And I know somebody brought this up earlier. They brought up the travel. They said, I'd rather play the Warriors because it's right down the road. You don't have to travel to Memphis. I would contend I'd rather travel to Memphis because then Oklahoma City's right there.
Oh, that's true.
Your travel to Oklahoma City is now a very, very short flight.
And either way, you're not worried about game one of a playoff series. You're worried very specifically about getting to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And the easiest path for me is a team that, again, in their last 14 games, the Grizzlies are 5-9. They're not a good team right now.
Yeah, and they're not, it's not like, wow, they're figuring it out.
Yeah.
They boat raced Dallas because Dallas wasn't trying to win.
Yep, at the end of the season. Yeah. And also some of those wins, the 5 wins, we're talking about Charlotte, Detroit, and Miami. The other one is against the Jazz, and the other one again, they beat the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
Like their 5 wins of their 5 wins, I think one of them is like a true legitimate win against the Detroit Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Detroit was on a back-to-back or anything else. I can just tell you that they beat Detroit. Like I don't see another. They have not played well. Their wins are against the dregs of the NBA.
Mm-hmm. That's why Taylor Jenkins got fired.
Yeah, even the Heat are like a 37-win team. Like they're not a good team.
Right.
So like this is a team that has not played well, and also has a shakeup at the top.
This is a great point by David Jenkins. The Warriors have never won a play-in game. That's a fact, dude.
Yeah.
A few years ago, they played the Lakers and lost, and then played Memphis and lost. Then they played the Kings last year and lost. And I think that's it. I think that's their 3 trips to the play-in.
Yeah.
Or their 2 trips to the play-in.
Yeah, the year before that, they won the NBA championship.
Yeah, that is it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
20,
oh my God.
Yeah. The year before that, they were bad and didn't make the playoffs.
Because 2021 was, right, that was the Lakers year. They lost to the Grizzlies. Then they won the title. Then they went to the playoffs. And then, they lost in the play. Okay.
Yeah.
I had my years mixed up. Man. So, if you would have that advantage, if Golden State loses tonight, you're going into a game at Chase Center against a team that has literally never won a play-in game. That's a W. That's a win.
Yeah, there you go.
Here we go. Golden State doesn't have a lot of like athletes. They don't have a lot of those rangy athletic guys that give the Kings problems.
Yep.
Jonathan Kuminga is apparently just out of the rotation now.
But they do. They shoot the lights out.
They are capable of doing so for sure. And that's what everything with Golden State rides on with for me. You know what you're for the most part going to get from Draymond. You know what you're for the most part going to get from Jimmy Butler, and you know for the most part what you're going to get from Steph. What do you get from all the other guys? Who else is going to be able to knock down shots?
No, I get that, but like when it comes to the Kings allowed their opponents to shoot 38.1% from 3 on the season, 30th in the league. It's still the biggest problem, and the Warriors are that team.
They're going to get their threes up.
Yeah, if you're going to lose to a team in that play-in game because of one of your fatal flaws, it would be the Warriors and their 3-point shooting acumen.
Yeah.
And the Kings can do all they want to, stunt to send 2 guys at Steph, but at the end of the day, like the Warriors have a bunch of dudes who can bust you up from 3, and including like a guy like Moses Moody, who might not be shooting well right now, but he sure does look good every single time he plays the Kings.
Yeah. Yeah. Capable of having one of those 5 for 7 type of games.
Yeah. You still got Buddy Hield looking for a revenge game. There's a lot of players on that team that can shoot the 3 and hurt you.
I would hope Buddy Hield isn't looking for a revenge game because yikes.
Well,
know what anybody wants to see. All right. We'll get predictions. East-West play-in games. We'll have predictions there. and we'll have the handoff coming up. It's going to be Jesse Tapia jumping in for the handoff on the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. James Ham, Joe Brazil. I'm Kyle Madsen. We'll be back in a second on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Center.
Oh, according to Anthony Slater, Moses Moody is now questionable for the Warriors game tonight with back spasms. It's not great. Oh, that's a good one, Soren. His back is being moody.
Yeah, this is the other thing.
Oh,
We're just having this conversation because that game is happening tonight. The Kings might just come out and not play well against Dallas.
Oh, I'm so terrified for tomorrow.
Super possible.
I think I don't know. Every time I've thought, all right, the Kings are fine. Like here they go. Okay, they're locked in. There's gonna be the rug gets pulled out.
That's
so
exactly what they want you to think.
I'm not gonna be fooled.
It's Lucy and Charlie Brown.
That's it. Every time. I think Complex is a top 6 cool person I know.
That's a good take. No, that's a good take.
Just from a style perspective, from a vibe perspective. Jesse Tapia, everybody.
He might be top. Damian Barling's pretty cool, so I'll put Dame 1.
Damian's extremely cool.
I'll put Complex at 3.
Okay, who's 2?
Casey.
In the building or that you know?
In the building.
Oh, in the building, that's easy work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about of everybody.
That I know.
D'Lo might legitimately be the coolest person.
Yeah, D'Lo's like a good guy, so that kind of adds to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Complex, his portfolio is like
Complex. If you
puts
talk
him
to
up
Complex, like Complex knows people too.
Yeah.
Complex is just that dude.
Yeah, but his name is very like perfect for like it's like he is a complex dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's nicer, Charlie or Joe Brazil?
Oh,
Charlie.
Dang.
It's Charlie.
Nah,
I think
it's
it's
Joe.
Joe,
It's
'cause
Joe.
yeah.
I've seen Charlie be mean. I've never
Exactly.
seen Joe be
Yeah,
mean.
I've seen Charlie
but
lay
you
down
guys
the
got to
law.
realize, like, I hate to pull back the curtain a little bit, but I am a newer person, and like, I'm a nice person, 100%.
I've never even heard you talk smack about somebody behind their back, though.
Yeah,
Jay.
no,
I've
I
seen
just
Jolie.
don't. I just don't.
I've seen Jolie being a little flustered, like, oh, like this is frustrating me, but like Charlie's been like, no, I'm mad.
Yeah,
seen-
Right,
I
I've
mean, at
seen-
events, like I've had to get a little mean at events before because people are like just not listening or whatever. Like, for example, someone's just getting a little too close to somebody. Like, I will, but I don't know. I'm not mean, but Charlie's nicer. I gotta go with Charlie.
I think Charlie too, because Joe's a fighter. Joe's gotten,
Just haven't seen that side of Joe yet.
Okay. Wait, no.
Oh.
I've been fighting. Great, that makes me sound even better. These accusations are false. I am not a fighter. I'm just involved in fights.
What does that even mean?
Joe just got a punchable face,
he's
and people take advantage of it, I
what he's
guess.
saying is he's not a fight winner.
No, he's not an instigator. Shout out to Joe, man.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
The nicest man in the building, Joe Brazil, is there. James Ham is here. I'm Kyle Madsen. Jesse Tapia is here. Jesse Tapia's fresh fade is here. It is
Shout
the
out to my
handoff.
barber.
Shout out to your barber. Yeah, I walked in yesterday. I walked into the room because your beard was getting long. Your hair
Yeah, I'll
was getting
go
long.
month and a half at a time without a haircut. It's just when I'm able to get back home and go see the barber, like I'll go do that. Shout out Jesus, praise the razor barber. And Siri, shout out.
Saying series?
Yeah.
You drive to Series to get your haircut?
Well, no, I'll go like if I'm gonna go see my dad or go hang out. Like,
Oh, I
let me
see,
make a haircut
okay.
appointment or something like that.
Do you have barbers here? And I ask this legitimately because I shave my head. I do that at home. I do it myself. I don't go to a barber. I know that finding a barber is very stressful though. Do you have a Sacramento barber and your Series guy?
No. Just
that
I've been
one.
going to him for like the last 5-6 years.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Shout out
'cause-
JC the barber 916. That's the Sacramento barber.
All right.
Yeah, 'cause, like my mom and dad are back there, so I see them enough to get a haircut every once in a while.
Haircut text, James?
I've got I go to a salon, but yeah.
Oh.
I've had
You have a set person that cuts your hair, or do you have multiple people cut your hair?
No, I've had the same lady for the last
That's how it should be.
10
I agree.
years.
I agree.
Yeah.
Probably 10. Before that, the other one was probably 15.
Prom in high school. Listen to this. My barber, I need a haircut, blah 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 in 2 weeks. He never hit me up. I had a prom. Yeah.
You
Never
went to
got a-
prom?
No, I found a haircut. I found a
Oh.
person to cut my hair after that. No, it was all good. But it's just that was like wow. Like stood me up.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's a bad
no.
beat. Right before prom.
Never
too.
talked to him again after that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, no.
To hell with that guy. Jesse Tapia, our resident Boston Celtics fan. I know you have no fear of either Orlando or the Hawks, but which team has a better chance of giving Boston like a little bit of a series?
I'm gonna go off of past experience. I don't want to play the Hawks.
The Hawks had a weird. Did they go 3-0 against Boston this year?
That sounds. They always. I don't know if they went 3-0 or whatever, but they always play Boston well. They're the team where it's like, yeah, Boston's gonna put up 120. The Hawks could put up 121 tonight. Like they played them in the playoffs. I think it was maybe last year, a couple years ago, and the series went 6. And it's not like I don't think Boston's gonna lose to them or anything like that. But if the Hawks need to get buckets somehow, some way, like they will, I think in one game.
Yeah,
They
it
were
was
two-
two seasons ago.
Yeah.
They took the Celtics to 6 games. Would you say 2-1 against them this year?
2-1 this season.
I think
one of them
matchup-
was the in-season
matchup-
tournament.
Yeah, matchup wise, like the Magic are probably like the one you look at because they got size and length and all that. But like I've seen the Celtics play the Hawks and somehow, some way, Trae Young's gonna go for 45 and win a game or two.
The Hawks haven't played the Hawks since
January
18th.
18th.
That's crazy. That's a long
November 4th, November 12th.
The Kings have played 5 seasons since then.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
feels like it, huh?
So you're pulling for Orlando?
Yeah, I'd like to see.
I mean,
Orlando,
if
yeah,
for
Orlando's never really found their flow this season either.
yeah, they're in a weird spot.
Mhm.
All right. Memphis Golden State. Who, if the Kings are hoping to make the playoffs, let's assume they beat Dallas. We're just gonna assume that for now. Who we're both I think we landed on we'd rather the Kings see Memphis, right? James?
Say that again?
We landed on the Kings, you'd rather them play Memphis.
Yeah, I would rather than play Memphis.
The Chatty House seems pretty split. Where do you land?
Yeah, I'm there too. I don't want to see Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler in a win or go home game.
Yeah.
Like they've been there, done that, have a lot of experience. Like I just don't want to see that. Memphis feels like a team since they fired Taylor Jenkins. They just been on a downward, I want to say spiral, but they're just not looking good since then.
Yeah, they're such a
That team might have run its course. Might be time for some
That's
changes
it.
this offseason.
That's it.
I think you take a look at. I think they'll take a look at trading Ja after all the Lucas stuff. I think you guys brought up Zion to some
Mhm.
report earlier.
Mhm.
I think I don't know if they do trade Ja, but I think it's a thought at least this offseason.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you.
Yeah.
The roster's weird.
I think there's a good chance that they blow that thing up. At least
It feels like you've gotten the
Partially.
most out of that.
yeah. I mean, and they're worried that if I'm them, I'm worried that Jaren Jackson wins Defensive Player of the Year. Then you have to
Oh yeah.
he's gonna want max money.
Better hope that Draymond Green media tour is still going strong. in
Yeah.
Memphis.
There you go. Well, the Evan Mobley media tour as well. Like
Yeah.
Is
the
that underway
Cleveland's
as
just
well?
not good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just not real good at like putting it out there.
Tyson
Can I-
Daniels was also really good this season as well, but just no one cares, I guess.
Can I give it a stack real quick on the Draymond thing? The reason he's in the DPOY conversation, he's awesome. He's a really good defender. He should at the very least be in the conversation. But when Wemby went down with his deep vein thrombosis, it was okay. Triple J, Evan Mobley, those are the guys. Draymond had a really nice stretch of games where he was making these big plays defensively down the stretch, and he just got into a press conference and went, "Yeah, I'm the Defensive Player of the Year." And it was like collectively, the national media just went, "Oh yeah, he sure is."
Let me tell you something.
Like,
I
wait,
saw
what?
No, hold on. I saw that. I was like, huh. He's got a point, maybe. Yeah. You know, like I feel like defensive player of the year is one of those. It's like based off of reputation, and if you get the right people behind you, then like you can get it done.
I agree with you. It's just insane that Draymond's DPOY candidacy, which, like I said, I'm not trying to invalidate it.
Yeah.
He's an awesome defender.
How big Warriors hater you are.
But yeah, I just can't stand him. But I'm not saying that he shouldn't be in the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that he wasn't, and now he just is, and is a favorite to win it, because he went into a press conference and was like, yeah, I'm the DPOY.
He's probably going to
Evan
win.
Mobley needs to get better at this. Jaren Jackson campaigns for it, and there was all that controversy about he had all these blocks at home and not a lot on the road, and the home scorekeeping and stuff. But Evan Mobley needs to come out and get on a podcast or get in a press conference and say some wild stuff that gets covered, because I'm sure he's said, I've not paid attention to every Evan Mobley press conference or any, to be honest. He needs to say something wild that gets covered nationally, where he's like, yeah, Draymond sucks, Jaren Jackson sucks, I'm actually the best defender in the league. And let's get this campaign rolling, Evan.
Yeah, you think.
You got to be loud.
Cavs just got the worst PR in the league. Like 62-win team.
It's
and it was kind of
unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Why is there not an Oklahoma City Thunder player mentioned in the DPOY race?
Because they got too many dudes.
Yeah, but their defensive rating is a 106.6.
Who's the guy you point to, though?
Lou Dort.
You could just give it to Shea, because you're gonna
stop. You can't give him MVP and DPOY. That's crazy.
Okay, best player, best team.
I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say he's better than Evan Mobley or even Dyson Daniels too. Like I said.
Yeah, I don't.
You throw him in the conversation.
Lou Dort.
The question.
That's not eligible.
The bigger deal for me is how many players are they going to have on the all defense teams? That'll be interesting to see.
They'll at least have two.
Lou Dort and Caruso?
Or Jalen Williams.
Oh, J1.
Yeah.
J-Dub? J1? Whichever one that is.
The good one.
Yeah, the better
small
one.
forward version.
The almost all-star.
The
all-star
the
ones.
good one. They're both good.
Yeah, he did make the all-star team. I was thinking of Norman Powell. Yeah.
We'll see. Like, Jaren's probably going to win it, honestly.
I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think
he's got all the media attention right now.
I agree, but once people actually sit down to vote, I know it's the conversation right now and all that jazz, but they're a 7 seed. You know,
might not even make the playoffs.
They might not even make the playoffs. That's it. If they were definitely in the playoffs, if they had been the 5 seed, if they beat the Spurs and they were the 5 seed, if they beat the Spurs and then the Clippers, then I think the conversation is a little different. But you can't confidently put your vote down for a guy whose team might miss the postseason.
Yeah, it'd be kind of odd, but I mean, media's kind of weird.
It's extremely weird.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in the top. I don't think he's in top 3, like defenders in the league. I just don't like Draymond.
Sure.
I mean, I think he's a really good defender.
Yeah.
But I also think that there are games where he's like overmatched.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm okay with him like going out there and putting his candidacy in. I'm okay if he wins like second team, all defensive team.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think he's there.
Yeah, and you can talk all you want. Like, it's up to the media to decide too.
Yeah, no doubt.
They should be the ones.
I just think it's the only reason we're talking about this is because he just in a press conference went, yeah, I'm the defensive player of the year. And collectively
worked.
The NBA commentariat went, okay, sure. Yeah, he is.
Sounds good to
me.
He
also had an incredible defensive game. I can't remember who it was against. He had an amazing defensive game, said the DPOY thing, and then had another unbelievable defensive game. Might have been against the Lakers. In fact, it was because he stripped Luka at the end of the game. He got such a clean strip on Luka that Luka didn't even look at the official. And it was all of that happened. He had a big block in another game, and all of that happened in this span of time. Everyone went, wow, he sure is. But I'm with James. Like, he's very, very good. He can be all defense for sure. But you can't talk to me about Jaren Jackson all year and Evan Mobley all year and have a team as good as the Oklahoma City Thunder are defensively. And then because Draymond in a press conference said, I'm the DPOY, suddenly go, oh, yeah. I just, like, what?
James, do you want to get the crew together? Maybe we'll get a little Keon Ellis for second team defense.
I'm happy you brought this up. Our guy, Danny Morang,
reached
out to me after I tweeted during the Kings game on Sunday. I tweeted out something like Keon Ellis won't be on an all defense team, but he needs to be in the conversation. And he said he was on my short list. He was just outside. It didn't get
From on the other list, Danny.
Shout out to Danny Murray.
I think
we're gonna throw the press conference right now. Get the crew together, James. We can do this right now.
The advanced stats also say Keegan Murray is way up there.
Keegan Murray should be the DPOY. Huh?
There it is.
We got to throw a press conference.
We're starting it.
We got about what?
Need Keegan to
a behind closed doors press conference. That would make sense for Keegan Murray.
No recording devices.
Yeah, Nico Harrison, you're a wild guy.
Invite only.
Yeah, I think I'm the defensive player of the year.
That's a really good Keegan. You do a very good Keegan.
Sorry. We got to end the show, right?
Can I do this? Hey, I don't know if you can hear me, Javier, but try back tomorrow. All right. What do you guys got coming up on D-Lo and KC?
Tristan Crick, Jason Jones, and Kings playing. Just a lot of that stuff.
Can't wait. More NBA talk coming up on D-Lo and KC. They'll take you up to 4 o'clock. For James Ham and Joe Brazil, I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube, and we're back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Until then, drink water. Be nice to people. See ya.